Alright, and it looks like we're good to go. So this is Project Gladiator with the I don't remember the number of live streams I've done up to this point, but the live stream that's going to be covering s- the possible tornado outbreak of January 8th, 2024 with an extremely potent setup for severe thunderstorms. So overall, as of the overview for what storms are doing right now, we have the QLCS coming in. Still waiting on the low level jet and 500 millibar jet streak to increase. Do have a couple of prefrontal storms here. I'm not really sure how that's going to affect the frontal system in the QLCS as far as organization, but we'll have to wait and see. We do have this over here though. We do have this pretty nice looking, pretty robust and elevated tornado, or not tornado, sorry, supercell. It does have rotation ongoing, may have a tornado warning here in a moment, and this is probably the main concern as far as watching for any tornadic development, because this is fairly robust, fairly organized, and overall looks fairly good as far as tornado potential. It's mostly as a very good slot of clear air. It's not really not being taken up by anything by any other storm. So it has very big area for inflow. We will have to watch. Uh, we'll have to watch these areas of precipitation though. See how that might affect inflow. But overall, so far it looks pretty good. I don't think inflow is going to be affected all that much. So we're gonna have to watch this as far as storms. But we do have that QLCS coming in. We do have a couple areas of weak rotation, but it's nothing that would warrant a tornado warning. Earlier today, there was a ton of tiny, um, not robust cells that were just scattered across Louisiana. But they're not there anymore. There was a ton of rotation though, a ton of very weak rotation because of how much shear there was. But yeah, we're probably gonna continue to focus on this storm right here, this little supercell. We're gonna watch that develop, and look at that rotation. It's getting very tightly wound, pretty strong. Um, Definitely go tornado warned any second now. I wouldn't think that it wouldn't go tornado warned. I mean, this is fairly robust, fairly organized. Um, it definitely very good potential for tornadic development. I'm just wanting to look at the 3D volumetric real quick because it's kind of interesting to me. Alright, well, it does look like there's also hail in there as well, potentially large. There was definitely the threat for large hail with the amount of shear that we have, especially speed shear. However, in the prefrontal zone, there's not really a lot of shear, especially that far to the east. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Maybe heavy rain. It does have the potential for it to be hail, but overall, there's not really a lot of shear in this area. Well, there's not a lot of speed shear, I should say. There's a lot of directional shear. But yeah, quite a robust system that we have going on here. again, we're gonna continue to watch that supercell. Just in southern Mississippi. Um, Depending on where the warm front is currently located, I should probably actually turn on frontal systems real quick so we can see the surface analysis. Depending on where the warm front is currently situated, which it is back towards the west a little bit. Um, I mean, it may be able to use some of the moisture and heat that may be introduced by a warm front that's a little bit to the north that already passed through, associated with a little bit more of a northern surface low, and warm air advection out of the south. But overall, I'm not really too sure what's going on with it. It's outside of the warm sector, maybe riding the warm front though. But again, you can see very, very nicely wound rotation, kind of getting disorganized in these more recent scans, but you can see very strong rotation. Again, I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised if it went tornado warn soon. Don't you hate it whenever you have a can of something like soda and go for this first sip? The first sip is always just down your shirt. But yeah, so uh, it probably definitely is riding the warm front because you can see QLCS along the cold front definitely significantly farther ahead compared to what is currently uh, shown for the surface analysis. So that could very well just be riding the warm front, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Again, we're gonna have to continue to watch this. I'm gonna pull up some of the observed soundings real quick from the SPC's website. I kind of want to look at those real quick just to get an idea of what may be going on as far as the environment in the real world instead of looking at models. And the scary thing was that oh they oh yeah, so yeah, okay, let me show you guys this observed sounding real quick. I don't know if that, okay, that is gonna show up on stream. Um, so this is particularly concerning. Let me get Epic Pen real quick so I can actually draw it out, explain to you why it's concerning. Not Epic Games, I want Epic Pen. Thank you. Um, so the reason why this is particularly concerning is, look at this hodograph. This, when I saw that we were gonna have insane directional shear, that this is significantly more than what the simulated observed soundings were showing on pivotal weather. This is insane directional shear. This is a humongous hodograph. And as far as streamwise vorticity, um, I mean we can draw it out. It's fairly streamwise. I mean it's not that's going to be easy for storms to pick up and begin using to rotate. Um, yeah, so and you can see quite a bit of instability. Maybe a little bit ahead of the warm sector, so we may not have all the instability as what is currently expected from the warm sector. But again, this is fairly concerning as far as the hodograph. That is a humongous hodograph. So again, quite concerning, quite scary. Um, if the cold front is doing its thing, and it does look like it is, again, very, very scary. We can also check some of these other locations out. This is behind the warm front, or sorry, behind the cold front, I think. Yeah, this is behind the cold front, I think. Um, it could be right on it. I'm not really sure when this was taken. Uh, Tons of instability and quite a bit of curvature in the low levels of the photograph. It's not really the best because it's kind of, I'm pretty sure it's close, if not behind the cold front. Could be right on top, but you can see quite a bit of instability there. Not really sure how it is compared to where the warm sector is currently located. You see in Mississippi, um, insane directional shear. And we can take a look at some of these other ones real quick. So they already launched all of their weather balloons for today. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this is inside the warm sector, just before the cold front. Um, Tons of directional shear. One amazing photograph. As far as streamwise vorticity, I mean, I'd say it's pretty decent. That is pretty streamwise. And then look at the instability. Tons of ample instability that can be used for an updraft. Okay, so basically, this is a quite potent setup. If this is taken from inside of the warm sector, which I'm almost positive it is, this is a quite potent setup and could be quite a big issue. Fact, observed soundings were indicating upwards of 5,000 joules per kilogram of instability earlier today in eastern Texas, before or in the prefrontal zone in the warm sector. So, again, quite scary. This is quite a scary situation. But we're gonna go back to pivotal weather here. Let's take a look at the supercell. Fairly good rotation still. Looks a little unorganized though, so we're gonna have to watch that. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes tornado warned very soon. But we do have a tornado watch. We are continuing to watch the QLCS. Um, I think it should organize overall as that low level jet increases. Overall, the organization of the QLCS isn't the best as of right now. However, it should increase as the low level jet and 500 millibar jet streak increases and more shears introduced. That's when this QLCS should definitely increase in organization and strength. Because as of right now, it looks kind of messy. Doesn't look as organized or as powerful as what a lot of the models are forecasting it to be. And I can show you that too on the models. Don't worry about how pixelated it is. I did turn off smoothing for some of these models. I think it does look a little better. You can see models are indicating that it is a little bit more unorganized back towards central Louisiana. However, as that does begin to push towards New Orleans and into Mississippi, you can really see how it gets much more organized. And then also you do have those more discrete supercells ahead that we will have to watch. But again, as mentioned, it definitely should begin to get more organized as it approaches New Orleans in that 500 millibar jet streak and the low level jet increases, which will increase shear and increase overall organization of systems. It's kind of bad that that the um, that the radar site currently located in New Orleans is down, because New Orleans is going to be pretty pretty significant area, uh, pretty concerning area as far as severe thunderstorms that we are expected to see for today. Um, but we do have this terminal radar that is right outside of New Orleans that should help us out quite a lot. If that was down, it would be a pretty bad situation, and the SPC would have to, or the NWS would have to rely on spotters in the area, um, spotters in the area at that time. So I'm glad that we do have that terminal radar there. Yeah. I really hope the mic doesn't sound very quiet. Try turn. Nah, I don't think I can turn it up. It doesn't sound very quiet. I may have to speak up a little bit, but it doesn't sound very quiet, so hopefully it sounds good on y'all's end. But as warm air advection increases and the low level jet and 500 millibar jet streak increases, so should the intensity of the squall line as it approaches New Orleans. Let's look at that warm front to supercell. It's still very organized. It looks pretty organized. Uh, very good rotation right there. It still looks a little unorganized, but it is getting better. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes tornado warned very soon, and we're gonna have to watch that thing, that supercell. And then we also do have the possibility of flash flooding here, as we do have this very long line of extremely heavy rainfall that's just gonna pour through Pritchard, Mobile, Saroland, Satsuma. Uh, may have a flooding potential there. But again, we're gonna have to continue to watch the supercell because this does look pretty potent, especially as far as how it looks on radar and the robustness of it. But you see like all these little areas where it is like rotating very weakly. That is an indication of the immense amount of shear that is in the environment right now. I am gonna eat like a nutty buddy, but I'll probably have my microphone muted. And I'll chime back in for some more important things. But I'm gonna eat a nutty buddy because I'm kind of hungry. I haven't really had anything to eat all day. All right. So I finished the Nutty Buddy, and I did notice a couple things about the supercell that we've been watching here. I haven't taken my eyes off of it so far. Um, a main issue I have is this huge clear slot between the hook and the main storm core here. Go over to velocity, where that clearing is. That's where all these outbound pixels are. So this is most likely all inflow, while this is most likely outflow from the hook. Could potentially be part of the RFD. Um, but overall, so far it looks like it is having a little bit of a more difficult time trying to rotate and form an actual mesocyclone instead of just going against each other. That's basically what it's doing. It's not really rotating. It's more so like going against each other because all this is inflow and this is likely part of the RFD and trying to become a mesocyclone. But as of right now, it doesn't look to me that it is a true mesocyclone. So that's the main issue I have with this supercell right now. It does look fairly robust. It does look fairly organized. However, it is having a hard time beginning to rotate. Um, as far as the other locations, doesn't really look like there's a lot going on. QLCS still looks kind of bad. It's probably gonna organize as that again as mentioned previously as that low level jet and 500 millibar jet streak increases in strength and more shears introduce it to help it organize more. That's when it should begin to look better as it approaches the New Orleans area, or in theory that's what should happen. Um, But yeah, so you can see very clear wind shift here with a bunch of outbound pixels and a bunch of inbound pixels right along the QLCS that are associated with that cold front. If I can find where the radar site is. Yeah, so outbound pixels, that's all the air rushing behind the cold front to push it forward, while you have these green inbound pixels towards the radar site. So there's quite a bit of cold front relative shear there as well in place. That should also help it rotate. But the reasons I mentioned previously for the supercell back towards Ramsey Springs, that's probably the main reason why they don't have a tornado warning on this supercell yet is because uh the rotation's having a little bit more of a hard time trying to form. But as of right now, it doesn't look like it is beginning to form pretty good here. Uh, Quite a bit of outbound pixels, quite a bit of inbound pixels, and it doesn't really look like it's associated with inflow or outflow. It does look like it is mostly associated with a mesocyclone. So we're gonna have to watch that, and we may get it tornado warned here now that it does look like it is forming a real mesocyclone. I'm gonna put a link to the Discord just in case anyone wants to join it in the chat. I'm gonna see if I can pin it. I think I can. I don't know if I can. I think it's just gonna be there. Yeah, I don't think I can. I am gonna have chat popped out though, so I can see it better. Alright, so that seems to be what's mostly happening as of right now. We're waiting for that low level jet to increase. Same with the 500 millibar jet streak, so shear can be introduced and really help that QLCS organize significantly more. Um, but again, as of right now, uh, we're still waiting on that to increase, and the QLCS does look kind of bad. You can see all these little small rotations here that we kind of do have to watch out for, because of the amount of shear that we have. But as the low level jet increases, um, we already have a ton of areas of rotation along the QLCS. So as a low level jet does increase, and the tornado risk increases with it, we're gonna have to heavily watch those because even though, because we already have some small areas of rotation there, so that is going to be a kind of a big threat that we're gonna have to watch out for when the low level jet does increase. But again, mainly we're probably gonna watch this supercell here, kind of just been situated here, trying to develop. Again, it does look like, okay, yeah, you can see it much clearly now. We have a bunch of inbound pixels towards the radar site, and a bunch of outbound pixels away from the radar site, and then we also have the inflow, which I'll mark with an I. Um, you can really see the difference in both the mesocyclone outbound pixels and the inflow outbound pixels. You can really see the difference there. So we're gonna have to watch that as it tries to form an actual mesocyclone instead of just inflow and outflow, or inflow and RFD. But you can see it is really beginning to increase here. So yeah, we're gonna continue to watch that supercell. Again, it does look like it is beginning to develop a much more organized area of rotation here. Then we also have all of these things out in the ocean. So one of the bigger risks that was kind of forecasted by the models was going to be a bunch of more discrete supercells in the warm sector that were going to make their way ashore from the Gulf of Mexico. But now we're seeing those kind of develop in very weak, trying to rotate tiny storms in the middle of Louisiana earlier. I'm kind of I'm still unsure about what they might have did. I'm not sure how much instability they used up, how that might affect the organization of the QLCS, but I think it should be just fine because we have a very strong warm air advection out of the south, which should really keep things going. But we're going to continue to watch velocity, especially because it is beginning to rotate much more prominently here. And we also do have these like smaller areas of rotation because of how much shear we have. But this is the primary area of rotation that we're watching for. So if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to ask. But we're kind of just going to sit here and watch that supercell begin to develop. I can actually show you some of the previous radar scans, actually, with some of those more discrete, isolated, tiny, trying to rotate weird storms ahead of the frontal system in the prefrontal zone. Again, I'm not really sure how much that affected the instability in the warm sector and how that's going to affect the QLCS and its organization. But yeah, so before the QLCS really got its way into Louisiana, you see all these tiny storms here, all these tiny weak things that did look like they have some hooking features, but overall aren't enough to begin rotating at the strength that is needed to or any sort of tornado warning. We did have a couple robust supercells around the cities of Ball, Harrisonburg, Jenna, Glenmora, and Elizabeth, and I'm pretty sure those did rotate. We also did have a total of 2 tornado warnings already, I'm pretty sure, but those were a while back and they were over in Texas. I think it might have produced at least one tornado. I think. I think there was a spotter confirmed tornado, but overall I'm not too sure. But again, I'm kind of concerned about how these stupid things might have affected the instability and how it's going to affect the organization and progression of the QLCS. But overall, so far, the models look like they're going pretty strong. Hello, Jackson. Appears that I'm getting absolutely spammed on Twitter right now. We're gonna go back over to that one supercell that we're watching consolidate and actually begin rotating. So it does look like they are going to possibly extend the tornado. They're probably going to extend the tornado watch up into southern Mississippi and southern Alabama. We also just got a new SPC update for 8 p.m. and that's going to be the last one that we're going to get for the night. Or at least until tomorrow. I'm going to take a look at that actually real quick. Yeah, so still 10% tornado risk with a hash area for some strong tornadoes. 30% with the 30% wind threat with the possibility of some strong damaging wind gusts, and the secondary risk for some large hail. Um, Overall, I'm still a little concerned about what is gonna happen with this system. Uh, Again, with the organization, the QLCS, and all that, I'm still a little concerned about what's actually gonna happen. But as of right now, models have been indicating this to be a quite potent setup. And again, we are gonna continue to watch that supercell. I should actually put it on dual panel real quick so we can have a wait. What did I just do? So we can have a look at velocity as well as reflexivity next to each other, so we can get an idea of the mesocyclone while looking at the organization and robustity of the supercell. But then we can also look at some of these other things. Yeah, so the main issue is these storms are kind of not doing anything, and um, a lot of these systems are that are ahead of the frontal zone and the prefrontal zone do indicate the lack of a cap in the or in the prefrontal zone in the warm sector does indicate the lack of a cap, so it doesn't it's allowing air to freely rise upward, and it's not allowing instability to build because all of it's being released upwards. But I'm really hoping that warm air advection can keep all that going. Yeah, overall, as far as robustity of the supercell that we've been watching, does look like it is getting somewhat weaker. I don't really think it is as robust as it was previously or a couple model scans back or radar scans back. We do have some rotation here, as well as the inflow, the strong inflow. Um, but we're gonna have to continue to watch that because overall, it's I don't think it really looks as good as what it did previously on some of the previous model runs. Rotation does look better compared to just inflow and RFD, but as far as organization and robustity of it on the reflectivity, it doesn't really look so good anymore. Okay, they're extending the tornado watch. You can see it pushing into northern Mississippi, I think. think they might have just extended it. Yeah, we're gonna continue to watch that supercell. Do whatever it's doing. Kind of having a hard time here though, cause rotation wise, you've heard me say this multiple times. It's kind of not very good. It's rotating, but not enough to warrant a tornado warning. And you see in the new radar scan, it looks kind of bad. We still have the strong inflow, um, but overall, it is looking kind of bad as far as robustity and the strength of the rotation. So, I'm not sure what's gonna go on with this. It's probably going to die out eventually. So, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. But that QLCS is just gonna keep chugging, regardless of if it's gonna reorganize later on. It's just gonna keep pushing. It's gonna keep chugging. It's gonna keep going. Again, regardless of if it is going to look better in the future, it's just gonna keep pushing. Again, models are indicating that it does look like it's gonna get better past or right before hitting New Orleans and then moving into Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. So that's what we're primarily watching out for, is the possibility of that. See, the rotation is kind of really dying down. We do have the strong inflow, and then we have the outbound pixels and the inbound pixels rotating, but it's looking worse and worse with each new model or each new radar scan. So again, if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to ask. I will answer them. If you have any questions whatsoever about what's going on right now or what may be going on somewhere else in the United States, as of right now, not really anything's happening. We're kind of waiting for the low-level jet and 500 millibar jet streak to increase shear and overall organization of storms. That's what we're gonna have to wait on before we actually start to see some of the more significant impacts. We are having some strong winds though. But we're gonna continue to watch the supercell. It's looking significantly more robust from the first time I noticed it. Wait, did I say significant? No, I meant significantly less robust. It's looking kind of bad now. It's not really looking all too good as far as organization. So we're gonna have to watch that. But we are seeing some strong winds, though. We are seeing some quite strong winds. Like we were expected to see. We could see, again, pretty strong wind gusts, possibly getting close to 70, 80 miles per hour. So we do have that hashed area for damaging winds. Overall, I'm not really sure how to forecast damaging winds myself. I'm still trying to figure that out, but we do have that hash area for damaging winds. my phone died. I'm gonna put it on the charger real quick. Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions so far, please feel free to ask. I'm putting my phone on the charger right now. It's charging. Um, Again, if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to ask. I will answer them. As far as the rotation on the supercell now, it is kind of bad. It's not looking too good for it anymore. We do have this strong inflow, strong inbound pixels towards the radar site, and some fairly good outbound pixels as well. But the rotation overall is not that organized or consolidated. It's kind of loose and broad. We're gonna have to wait until that tightens up. Um, because as of right now, it's not looking too good. May have to watch this though. I did notice this notch here. It does look like it may be beginning to rotate a little bit. Inbound pixels, outbound pixels, a little bit of rotation right there in that little notch. We're gonna have to watch that. That may be a tornado trying to develop. Yeah, again, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, I do have chat pulled open on one of my monitors and I will read them and I will answer your questions. So again, please feel free to ask. And I don't know if the link to the Discord went away yet. You can feel free to join the Discord if you want. But the rotation on the supercell is looking fairly broad and overall fairly loose. If we want a tornado warning on that supercell, it's gonna have to tighten up. Does look like it may be turning into a little bit more of a damaging wind threat, especially around the hook area. You can see a nice bow echo, and some pretty strong wind gusts here pushing eastward towards the radar site. So it may be a little bit more of a damaging wind gust threat with this thing that's happening, but it could also be trying to rotate. Does look like it is trying to rotate, but overall it's very, very broad and very loose. We can also take a look at the QLC again, but I highly doubt it's going to look very good. It's moving quickly though, especially towards the coast, where we have much more stronger warm air advection out of the Gulf of Mexico, and it can use it up quicker because it is in close proximity to where it's coming from. It is looking much more organized, but again, we still have these clusters of storms everywhere. We did have that severe thunderstorm warning removed for this thing, so overall, I'm not really too sure about this. But again, if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to ask. Because if you do have any questions, I will answer them. I was looking at the video I posted where I went in depth on the setup for the tornado outbreak that may be possible today. later on tonight, and if I thought it said 45 views in just an hour, that would have been surprising, but it was the previous video. That would have been surprising though if it was 45 views in like 2 hours. But if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to ask. I will answer them. Yeah, so models do look like they are indicating a little bit more of a organization trend as it gets closer to New Orleans. Most models have. You can also take a look at the low-level jet again. Yeah, so the low-level jet does have yet to increase. As far as the 500 millibar jet streak, I mean, right now it's pretty strong, but it still has room to increase. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning over here. Tornado possible signature along the QLCS. It's probably going to be our next target to watch. Um, I'm just curious about correlation coefficient. I didn't think there was like anything gonna be too crazy with it, but yeah. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible signature. Overall, oh, I don't want 4 frames. Yeah, overall, uh, rotation doesn't look the best, so that's why it doesn't have a tornado warning right now. But it does have the tornado possible signature on it. There's almost like no visible rotation, but there is a little bit of back and forth motion here with a little bit of mostly outbound, but still somewhat inbound pixels towards the radar site, which is to the east or to the west, sorry, and some outbound pixels with a small area of rotation there. So we're gonna have to watch that. But overall, the thing system isn't really looking all that robust. So overall, I'm not really sure how it's going to develop, but right now it's not looking all that robust. So it may have a few issues. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat. I do have the chat pulled up on one of my monitors, so I can read it. Never mind, I just lost it. I don't know where it went. Hopefully the stream stays on. We're gonna reload the website, see if I can get the chat to come back. Yeah, I got chat back. Alright, well, thank you all for tuning in again. Please feel free to ask any questions about what's currently going on. As long as they're weather related, I will answer them. Even it can even be something that's not about what's going on currently. I'm kind of bored because we still have like a couple hours until low level jet increases. Not really lots going on right now. Uh, so again, please feel free to ask any questions whatsoever. So what we're doing right now, we're kind of just watching this severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible signature. We're also kind of waiting for the QLCS to begin to actually organize more whenever the low level jet in the 500 millibar jet streak increases and introduces more shear, which will lead to more organization along the QLCS. Um, Also increasing the tornado potential. Overall, not really a lot going on. We have had a little bit of some like lower end tornado or tornadic development. Have I, we might have seen a tornado or two back in Texas a couple hours ago. But as of right now, not really a lot's going on because the QLCS is looking kind of bad before it can organize, and it may be a result of the clustered storms in the warm sector using up a lot of the instability. So we're gonna have to watch this. But overall, as far as what it looks like for the severe thunderstorm warning and the tornado possible signature, new radar scan that just came out like a couple seconds ago, uh, makes it look significantly more robust. Still may need a little bit of work, but it's definitely much more robust. And you can see some rotation here. Overall rotation is fairly weak. You can see some inbound pixels, in outbound pixels, with the majority of it being outbound because that's the direction the QLC is moving, or QLCS. Um, so we're gonna have to watch that for its development. But overall, I'm kind of just waiting for the low level jet and 500 millibar jet streak to increase. But again, if you guys do have any questions whatsoever about what's happening right now, if you're concerned about any of the weather, may it be here or anywhere else in the United States, I will answer those questions as long as it's in the lower 48 states, main continental US. I don't really do a lot for Hawaii or Alaska. Thought about it, but it's already a lot of work with the lower 48. It's going to be even more with Alaska and Hawaii. But we're going to continue to watch this little thing continue to develop. Again, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, I will answer them as long as they're weather related. Because right now I am kind of bored just sitting here. But thank you all for tuning in, whoever has so far, and whoever's still here. Uh, again, please feel free to ask any questions whatsoever. I will definitely answer them as long as they're weather related. Wow, that's a huge special weather statement for the QLCS that was just added. It's pretty big. Probably because they're putting a lot of space between the QLCS and whatever's in front of it, just as a precaution. There is a little bit of some smaller cells developing along outflow in front of the QLCS that may become a little bit of an issue as far as storm organization. So usually if you have that outflow, I do believe that it does mean that outflow is racing ahead and cutting off the inflow a little bit. So that may be what's happening here. Plus we also have a lot of potential influence from a lot of these more discrete and tiny cells ahead of the QLCS. Um, Models were indicating them to be supercells that definitely had the possibility of producing tornadoes because they could just use whatever was in the warm sector. However, uh, they're kind of bad. They're kind of crappy, and they're overall just inhibiting all the instability and organization of the QLCS. As far as rotation on this storm, uh, as far as robustness, robust, robustness, it's it's getting there. It looks like it's getting better. You can definitely see that it does have a little bit more of a prominent hook right there. Wait, why can't I draw? Yeah, prominent, a little bit of a prominent hook there that's becoming significantly more robust over time. However, with all the precipitation around it, that may provide it with some inhabilitations because rain-cooled air may feed into the inflow jet, and that may cause it some issues. But we do have some rotation here. Overall, it's pretty weak. It's mostly outbound, but you can still see inbound towards the radar site and outbound away from the radar site. The majority, with the couplet being mostly outbound. Hey, there's Oklahoma here. But again, I just want to thank y'all for tuning in so far. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask. My phone is just exploding over there. I don't even know why. It's not Twitter. I'm pretty sure that's a Twitter notification, but it's not Twitter. It's not Twitter. I have Twitter pulled up in one of my tabs, and I don't really have all that many notifications from Twitter, so I don't know what's blowing up my phone right now. So, it's continuing to look the same. Past couple of radar scans, it hasn't really been changing. Robustness of that thing has kind of stayed the same. Further down south, where it has a little bit more better warm air advection flowing into it, still kind of icky. It's very unorganized, but it is in a line. It's very unorganized though. What that one like quote unquote supercell that we were looking at? Oh, okay. So producing all kinds of issues here without it being tornadic. So when you have greens, Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on, I may be mistaken, actually. Yeah, I may be mistaken here a little bit. I thought we had a little bit more of a downburst going on, which would be like, when you have, where it's kind of just like the pixels seem as if the winds are going away from each other because tons of um tons of rain falling down from the sky and flowing outwards would look like it's flowing away from each other on the radar. So kind of a little drawing here to show you what I'm talking about. So this is all rain. It's kind of crappy, but it's there. So this may be a little bit of rotation. It's very broad and definitely not tornado warnable. So we're gonna go back over here to this thing. Overall, it doesn't really look like it changed all that much. Kind of looks the same. So, again, thank you all for tuning in. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask. I'm also positive that chat is working. I don't think it's not working. Because usually my friends would get on stream and start spamming, or not spamming, but putting stupid crap in the chat that I would have to sift through. Like earlier, they tried, or last live stream, when there was a tornado outbreak. Where was it? Tornado outbreak in the Mississippi River Valley. Last year, they tried to get me to say LeBron James by getting me to say La Bronx drains. And I thought they were talking about like drainage flooding from a ton of rainfall. Stupid. Yeah, I'm kind of anticipating that like any minute now that they're just gonna come in here and start putting a bunch of stupid stuff in the chat. More towards the north though, it does look like it is becoming a little bit more organized. It definitely looks much more robust, and we're gonna have to watch that because the low level jet 500 millibar jet streak may be increasing. It definitely looks much more robust compared to a couple model or a couple radar scans back. I don't know why I keep calling them models. They're not models. These are radars. What should happen? Why can't I? Oh, never mind. All right, so as of right now, I saw that one area of like a somewhat strong rotation there. Looked fairly fairly crazy. I'm gonna switch to this radar site, make it as a better picture, and yeah, a better picture indeed. Doesn't look as bad as what it was when I was using the radar site further up north. as of right now, as far as this severe thunderstorm, they did take away the tornado possible signature. Um, because it doesn't look like it has any hooking mechanisms anymore. But the QLCS does look like it is getting much more robust over time. You can probably watch that development if I play it back. Yeah, you can kind of see how it's getting more robust and more intense, especially in reflectivity. This is the rotation I was talking about, right here. Looks kind of freaky. Just no indication of a tornado on the ground. Plus, it's not tornado warned, so. So again, if you guys have any questions so far, please feel free to ask. Oh, okay. So again, if you guys have any questions whatsoever so far, please feel free to ask. It's kind of boring right now because nothing's really happening. QLCS does look like it is beginning to organize much more rapidly as it approaches New Orleans area. It does look like it's getting more robust. Um, Overall, it's kind of boring though because not really anything's happening. So if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to ask. I will answer them as long as they're pertaining to weather. Overall, there's not really a lot that we're like watching for. I mean, we are watching for the QLCS, but like more small scale. There's not really anything we're currently watching for. Severe thunderstorm warning is probably going to be decrease or expired here in the next 2 minutes. I'm losing Radar Omega. Okay, never mind. I thought Radar Omega was just crashing on me. Yeah, down south it's looking fairly robust, fairly organized, very straight. We can put on the better, not better, has its up and downs. It's more widespread radar. I don't really like it to be honest. I like the more high quality radar. So we're just gonna watch this QLCS develop over time. Again, there's not really a lot we're currently looking out for. There's no like warnings or anything we're watching. Did have a tornado possible severe thunderstorm warning, but that's about to be expired. QLCS is organizing slowly as the low-level jet and 500 millibar jet streak increases, and that introduces more shear and overall the more of a potential for organization. Um, but as of right now, it's kind of crappy. It is getting better though. It is looking much more robust compared to what it did like an hour ago. Yeah, so as of right now, um, not really a lot going on. I do want to thank you, whoever's tuned in right now for tuning in. And again, if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask. I will answer them, and don't think any question is stupid, because it's completely fine if you don't know what I've been talking about, because I will answer your questions as long as they're pertaining to weather. Fairly organized, fairly robust. Um, Not really that intense. But it may increase as again the low level jet 500 millibar jet streak increases. That's mainly what we're watching out for here, because um, again, not really a lot is happening, and I'm getting tired. Thank you for tuning in, whoever that is. If you have any questions whatsoever pertaining to what's currently going on or any weather in the United States, please feel free to ask. I don't think any question is stupid. I will answer them. Because as of right now, it's kind of boring. Not really doing anything. Uh, QLCS organizing slowly. It's becoming much more robust, but it is kind of looking kind of crappy right now. Actually, no, it's not really looking all that crappy. It's getting pretty, pretty, pretty better. Uh, it is increasing though. But we don't really have like any areas of rotation that we're watching out for. Kind of just looking at the QLCS and watching it develop. I have been checking Twitter for any information on what's currently going on. I don't know if you heard that. That was Reed Timmer. 16 minutes ago, they did indicate that there may be someone on Twitter did indicate that there may be a tornado on the ground using, just to the southeast of, uh, Lucidale. Lucidale, I have no idea where that is, to be honest. And I don't know where my map went, so I gotta turn that back on. There we go. That's better. So as far as the Lucidale thing that I saw on Twitter, um, they may be referring to that one like trying to be Supercell, which is it's trying. It's not doing, but it is trying. It looks kind of crappy now. It is looking pretty robust, but it's not organizing into a supercell. Uh, if we wanted to actually develop a tornado, this hook it wouldn't have to be straight. It would have to like curve more upwards. Because as of right now, it's like pretty straight. That indicates almost no rotation. So it's trying. It's not doing though. It really is trying. It's been trying. Yeah. So I want to thank y'all. Whoever's tuned in right now, thank you for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. It seems like a lot of people mostly had their eyes set on this supercell. Overall, I'm not seeing it. I personally, I'm not seeing it. It's trying. It really is. It's really trying, but it's not getting there. So people have their eyes set on it, but it's not looking too good. It is robust. It looks fairly organized. Hook is not. It's completely straight, indicating almost no rotation. So again, if we want this to uh, become more of a tornadic threat, um, we would have to have it stop looking like this, and we would have to have it look. Why does my pen keep doing that? It look something more like this, or even more curved, because this hook will have to swing this way if it's gonna try to rotate. It's trying. You can tell that there is a trying mesocyclone here. It's really trying, but it's not getting there. It's mostly like an updraft that is just being blown downwind. It's sort of something like this, um, almost perpendicular to each other because there's not really a hooking mechanism. Um, Let me choose a better color so you guys can see it better. So it's basically updraft. Think of this as a thunderstorm, particularly that thunderstorm. Um, we have the updraft down to the south, pulling in warm air and all ingredients and stability, keeping it alive. Um, and we also have shear. So shear is increase in strength of the winds with height, or the difference in those winds with height. Um, Sorry if I may be explaining it weirdly because I'm a little tired right now. But you see, stronger winds in the upper levels that tilts the updraft. You see it sort of tilted here, and it also separates the updraft from the downdraft. So you have a downdraft that's further downwind from the shear. So this is probably more surface based because we are seeing that strong warm air advection out of the south, and that's where the downdraft is being blown downwind. So it's trying. It's probably a surface-based storm. It's trying to develop rotation. It's not doing though. It's really trying. It's just like an updraft being just blown downwind. But the night is still young. We're waiting for that QLCS to continue developing. Again, night's still very young, still very young. So even if it's not going right now, we're waiting for things to start going. Again, night's still young. The QLCS is just entering the enhanced risk area. It's barely made any progress through the enhanced risk area. So again, the night's still pretty young. Actually, no, I take that back. There has been progress through the enhanced risk area because it used to look something like this extending back into Houston. And that pushed through. But it's still trying to push through a vast majority of the enhanced risk. So again, the night's still young. QLCS is still young. Still waiting for that to develop. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Whoever's tuned in right now, feel free to ask any questions regarding what's currently happening or any weather in the United States. Don't be afraid to think you sound stupid, because I reassure you, you don't. Because not everyone knows the weather. So again, please don't feel like uh, don't feel like your question is stupid. I will answer them. But like as of right now, we're kind of just sitting here, not really doing anything. We're just watching the QLCS. Yeah, anyone that's here right now, thank y'all for tuning in. Again, please feel free to ask any questions. That's my alarm that's going off. It's over on the charger, so give me a second. Yeah, we're kind of just watching this QLCS develop. It is getting more robust, probably because the low-level jet and 500 millibar jet streak is increasing, which is increasing the shear and overall organization of these storms. That should lead to a increasing tornado risk over the next couple of hours. But as of right now, nothing is really happening. So again, please feel free to ask any questions. Whoever's tuned in right now. Probably check back up on that other supercell. That's kind of trying, but not really. It's all the way in Alabama already. Yeah, so not only is the quote unquote rotation weakening down, but it's almost completely straight. The thing that does look a little funny though is that it's so like stretched out due to the shear that I have a feeling that this may be able to hook back around in a small area here. Like just a tiny little hook that may be able to produce a little bit of tornado threat. You can see that it may be trying to do that. It does have a little bit of a hooking feature there, but overall it's not very good. I don't think a lot of people are covering this system or this event that's happening right now because it is expected to be a little bit more of a nocturnal threat. We are expected to see the majority of our storms impact uh, around the middle of the night. So I don't know how long I'll be live streaming. I don't know how long I'll be covering this. I may not be covering it for long, but I also don't know how many people are currently covering it because it's going to be so late at night. And we have multiple hours ahead of us until we actually see anything that concerning. We have had we have seen a couple of things so far, a couple of concerning things like that trying to be supercell um and a couple of tornado warnings back over in Texas, but overall not really a lot is going on. So again, we're just continuing to watch this and watch this thing develop and yeah, just watch it. I do okay, so Retimmer is live right now. Weather Watcher is live. Um have Tennessee Valley Weather. I don't think they're gonna be covering this, but they might. I don't think so though. Retimmer, Vince Walty, Weather Watcher, Texas Storm Chasers. Pretty sure Fox Weather. And who else? I think maybe Ryan Hall. I can check though. Ryan Howell, y'all. Yeah, I don't think he's live right now. So we're just gonna continue to watch this over time. Overall, not really a lot is happening, but stuff might start happening soon. But it really all depends. I'll try to stay alive for as long as I can. Do have things I may have to start doing, like homework. Um, I kind of have to have done before tomorrow. What do I have as far as homework? I don't think it's a lot. I may be fine as far as homework. Hold on, give me a second, guys. I think my dog wants in to the room. So give me just 1 second. Alright, so we are back in business. Um, Still watching the QLCS develop. Nothing too big going on right now, so it's probably gonna be like that for a couple hours. But again, the night is still young. If you guys have any questions, thank you all for tuning in. Again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Alright, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna end the live stream for now. I'm gonna have radar up constantly. I'm gonna be monitoring it. I'm gonna have it up constantly. I'm gonna be constantly monitoring it for any changes. Whenever I feel it's right, I am going to probably go live again. I may not, depending on if the setup really goes the way that it is expected and performs like it is expected to. Um, then I'll go live. So if it doesn't do that, then won't start up the live stream again. But I probably will whenever the QLCS has better time to develop and overall better organization. You can probably hear my dog in the background. Alright, so I will see you guys probably later on tonight. Thank you all for tuning